There is no shortage of forecast on how mobile data will explode in future. One of those projections, published in Fortune magazine in early 2016, global mobile traffic is expected to grow 8 times from 2015 to 2020. By 2020, data from mobile devices will reach 30.6 exabytes monthly. And how big is that exabyte I just mentioned? An exabyte is 1 billion gigabytes, which is about 240 billion songs, if that gives you any idea. Internet of Things or IoT is also growing. IDC predicts that there will be 30 billion connected things worldwide by 2020. And after 2020, that's anybody's guess. But one clear indication that this growth will be really big when IoT Move is complete to a new internet addressing system called IPv6. Wireless networks will have to evolve to support this data explosion, and changes are coming fast in the form of 5G. Not all 5G standards are set in place as of yet, but here are a few highlights of 5G. 5G will be a network of networks. It will deliver far higher speed, bandwidth, and lower latency than ever before. We'll see hundreds of megabits and even gigabit level speeds. The standards bodies involved are aiming at 20 gigabit per second speed and 1 millisecond latency. What is latency? Latency is the amount of time a message takes to go through a system. 1 millisecond is actually 1,000th of a second, 1 over 1,000. It will use a type of encoding called OFDM, which is similar to the encoding that LTE uses. The new networks will predominantly use very high frequencies that can transmit huge amount of data, but only a few blocks at a time. Frequencies that have been tested or being considered are 15 gigahertz and suitable frequencies between 24 to even 100 gigahertz. 5G networks are much more likely to be networks of small cells, even down to the size of home routers, as opposed to the large cell towers you are used to seeing. Some of the obscure technologies we may have heard about will become commonplace. You will hear of millimeter waves more often. Millimeter waves occupy the frequency spectrum from 30 gigahertz to 300 gigahertz. You will hear of massive MIMO, also known as large-scale antenna systems. You will hear of beamforming technology, which will allow engineers to focus signal beams on recipient in a smarter way. You will hear about full duplex technology. Engineers will be able to transmit and receive simultaneously on the same channel, which is not happening right now. Mobile network will evolve in three ways: dense, more antennas and small cells than ever before; virtual or software defined, carriers will shift from physical equipment to virtualized environments operating in centralized data centers, CRAN. Instead of more cell towers, we'll move into computer server type architecture. It's going to be efficient. With the Internet of Things reaching 30 billion strong by 2020, carriers will have to design far more efficient networks. There are hundreds of forecasts on how all of this is going to change the landscape of wireless industry. But since we are in a DAS course, we will just focus on what changes are coming to DAS.